It's a 1992 Miata, 1.6 obviously, just in case you're wondering. That's the brand and stuff, and I got it at O'Reilly Auto Parts. I looked everywhere for this part, and online I couldn't find anything. I just found the other sensor that goes right here. That's the other temperature sensor for the coolant, and the one I was looking for was that one, obviously, the one in the back. And it was about $17 with taxes, $15 without taxes, so pretty good. When taking off the spark plug wires, make sure that you take note on where each one goes, and make sure when you put them back to put them in that exact order before you try to turn on the car. So after removing the coil plugs from the coil pack, work the coil pack on top of the motor, but don't pull it too hard because there's wires and you don't want to rip them or mess them up. And notice how I put my wires off to the side where I would remember which one is which. So the plug you're looking for is green. It's right there, you can barely see it. It's probably the hardest thing to reach in your car, and there it is. And here's the little metal piece that you need to take off the plug. That little green plug has this clip, and you won't be able to pull it out unless you take off the clip. The way you take off the clip is you need a pick set. It's some little tools, they're like $6, and I had one lying around, so that's how I got mine out. So this is the sensor I took out, and it was the hardest thing I've ever done. Actually ended up breaking off the connector, and I sprayed a little bit of WD-40 in there. I don't want it to get inside or anything, I just wanted a little bit, so I managed to take it off. And it's time to put the new one in. It's going to be way easier than taking this one out. So I got the new sensor back in, and it's right there. It was much easier to install than to remove. I removed it with a ratchet. It was this ratchet, and it was a 3/4 size socket. The only way you're going to be able to use a ratchet is if you break off the connector off the old sensor and then put the new one on with a small wrench. Otherwise you won't reach it. So I don't really recommend this way. If you guys have any tools that could take this off easier without taking the engine out, then go ahead and try them, but I don't recommend this. This is just the way I did it, and I don't want you guys to break off the connector and then not be able to put the new one in because you can't take the old one off. So be sure you could take the old one off before you break it, and then you'll be able to put the new one in. So what I did was I broke it off, took it off, and then I pretty much put it in hand tight, and I used a small wrench to tighten it, and I didn't even tighten it that hard, and I think it's not gonna really need to be that tight, so hopefully it all goes well. Okay, I tried to put the little metal piece back on the connector, but it was harder than I thought. So I decided not to put it on. I don't think it really needs it, because it's just so it could be secured, but I think it's good enough. It's not gonna fall off. So once you're done putting the sensor back, you're basically just putting it back how you took it off, and just make sure you got your coil pack back in. There's like 2 washers down there, and just make sure you got them right. And this connector, this bolt, just make sure you got a lot of mosquitoes out here. Just make sure you got this one on top of the coil pack, and bolt it back in and put your coils back and the wires back, and start it up and make sure it works. So it turns out one of my spark plug wires was put on wrong. I didn't turn it on though. I checked first and I fixed it, then I turned it on, and it's idling really good right now. Normally, before I replaced that sensor, the RPMs would be around that area, but they would like slightly move down and sometimes slightly move up. But right now, like keep it steady. The gauge isn't even moving at all, and the motor just sounds really stable. So yeah, once you're done installing it, just turn it on and let it idle to normal temperature, and just make sure that there's no leaks or anything, and that it's idling good, and maybe that it's driving good. So yeah, I'm really happy with this, and I'm doing this at night because I gotta go to school tomorrow, and I don't want to be left stranded because this car turned off on me on a red light about 2 or 3 times already. So I really needed to get this done. Oh, and also I disconnected the negative cable on the battery for about 10-15 seconds, and then connected it back. Just make sure you connect it really tightly, and that's to reset the check engine light codes.